The call of the grain. Why your bit matters in hardwood. Wood, it's a fine material. Honest, strong. It asks for respect. When you work with hardwood, you're talking to history. Oak, maple, cherry. These trees stood tall for many years. Now you want to shape them. You want to join them. You want to make something lasting. This is good work. But good work needs good tools. And good sense. Especially when you're drilling holes into that beautiful, unyielding timber. A hole is not just an empty space, it's a commitment you're making to the piece. Drilling into hardwood is not like drilling into pine. Pine is soft. It often forgives your little mistakes. Hardwood, however, is stubborn. It resists your efforts. It will certainly test your patience. It will also definitely test your drill bit. If you choose to use the wrong bit, you are essentially asking for a fight. You might end up with a ragged, ugly hole. You might even burn the precious wood. You could potentially break your bit, which is frustrating. Or worse, you could ruin a fine piece of lumber. That's a crying shame, a waste of good material. Choosing the right drill bit is not a small thing to consider. It's fundamental to good craftsmanship. Now, for making holes in wood, you've got choices. Two common choices, especially for larger holes, are the spade bit and the auger bit. They look quite different from each other. They also act very differently when they meet the wood. One is shaped like a flat paddle, designed for quick and to-the-point drilling. The other resembles a corkscrew, perhaps moving slower, but with a clear, determined purpose. Each of these bits has its specific place and its best use in your workshop. Knowing precisely when to reach for which bit is a clear mark of a person who truly understands wood and tools. It's all about using the right tool for the right job every single time. So, let's take a closer look at these two bits. We'll examine how they're made, their design features. We'll explore what tasks they do best, their strengths. We'll try to figure out when a spade bit is your loyal friend, and we will also determine when an auger bit is the wiser, more considered counsel. Because making a clean, true, perfectly round hole in a piece of beautiful hardwood is a quiet, profound joy. It signifies that you're doing things the right way. It shows that you respect the wood you are working with. This knowledge, once gained, will serve you well for many projects. Pay attention now. There might be a quiz later, or more likely, just better woodworking ahead for you. The spade bit. It's a simple fella, this one. It looks rather like a flat spade, the kind you might use for digging in a garden. But of course it is much smaller. Much smaller. It has a very sharp point right in the center of its paddle. This central point is crucial because it helps you start the hole precisely where you want it, preventing wandering. On either side of this guiding point, the flat part of the bit flares out to create the cutting edges. Some spade bits also feature little spurs on the very outside edges of the paddle. These spurs are intended to score the wood fibers cleanly before the main cutting edges begin their work of removing material. It's a very straightforward design. No fancy twists or complicated turns to it. How does this simple tool work its magic, or perhaps its brute force? Well, that center point bites into the wood surface first, creating an anchor. Then, as you apply pressure and the drill spins, those flat cutting edges begin to scrape away the wood. It is fundamentally more of a scraping action than a true slicing or cutting action. This scraping characteristic is precisely why spade bits can sometimes leave a rougher finish around the hole. They are undeniably fast though. If you need to make a significant number of reasonably sized holes quickly, and the absolute prettiness of the hole isn't your primary concern, a spade bit can certainly get the job done efficiently. They are available in a wide array of sizes, allowing for fairly wide holes too. So, when is the right time to grab a spade bit from your tool collection? They generally perform fine work in softer woods. Woods like pine, fir, cedar, that sort of thing, yield easily to them. They can also muscle their way through some hardwoods, but usually for specific types of jobs. Think about drilling utility holes, for instance. These are holes for running electrical wires or small pipes where no one will ever see them. Or perhaps you need a quick rough hole in a workbench leg for a temporary peg or a utility hook. If the hole is destined to be hidden from view, or if its job is purely functional rather than aesthetic, a spade bit can be a perfectly good, economical choice. They are generally much cheaper than auger bits, which also adds to their popularity. But here's the rub, the main problem, when it comes to using spade bits in dense hardwoods. That aggressive scraping action can cause significant trouble. In very dense woods like oak or hard maple, a spade bit can create a lot of tear out. That's the unwelcome phenomenon where the wood fibers get violently ripped out around the edge of the hole instead of being cut cleanly. This makes for an ugly, splintered mess. They can also get quite hot during operation. very hot, in fact. This excessive heat can burn your precious wood, leaving unsightly scorch marks, or it can dull your bit rapidly. And because there's no real guidance system beyond that initial point, they can sometimes wander off course, especially in deeper holes. This makes them not ideal for precise work in good quality lumber. Now let's turn our attention and consider the auger bit. This tool is a different beast altogether, a more refined creature. It looks more complex than the spade bit, and indeed it is, by design and function. Right at the very tip, there's a prominent screw point. This is a threaded point, much like a wood screw. This isn't just for helping to start the hole accurately. This screw, often called a feed screw, actually pulls the bit steadily and consistently into the wood. It feels like it's hungry for the wood, drawing itself in. Then you have one or sometimes two sharp cutting lips or spurs, located at the edge of the bit's diameter. These score the wood fibers cleanly, and just behind that you'll see deep, wide spiral grooves cut into the shaft. These are called flutes, and they are very important for its performance. The real magic of the auger bit lies in how all these carefully designed parts work together in harmony. That screw tip, the feed screw, as mentioned, does a significant amount of the work for you. It diligently draws the bit steadily through the wood material. This means you don't have to push as hard as you would with a spade bit. This in turn translates to more control over the drilling operation. The sharp spurs at the perimeter slice the wood fibers cleanly before the main cutting edges lift the chip. And those big, generous flutes, they act like an efficient conveyor belt system. They are designed to carry the wood chips up and out of the hole as it's being drilled. This action keeps the hole clear of debris. It also crucially reduces friction and the buildup of heat. When should an auger bit be your first and preferred choice for a drilling task? Most definitely when you're working with hardwoods. Fine woods like oak, walnut, maple, and hickory. These dense woods truly respect an auger bit's capabilities. It's also the undisputed champion for drilling deep holes. Those well-designed flutes make a huge and noticeable difference when boring deep into timber. If you require a hole that is exceptionally clean and precisely placed, the auger bit consistently delivers superior results. Think about creating mortises for strong traditional joinery, or drilling holes for dowels that need to be perfectly aligned for a strong and invisible joint. When accuracy and a clean finish are paramount, you should always reach for an auger bit. It's specifically built for this kind of serious quality woodworking. The advantages of using an auger bit in hardwood are abundantly clear. Significantly less brute force is needed from you, the operator. The bit itself does more of the demanding work of pulling through the dense material. This provides you with much better control over the entire drilling process from start to finish. The cutting action of an auger bit is more of a refined slicing and lifting, which means there is significantly less tear out compared to what a spade bit often produces. The result is a much cleaner entry hole and, just as importantly, a cleaner exit hole. Yes, it's true that auger bits usually cost a bit more than spade bits, but for good work and good wood, they are worth every single penny of that extra investment. They save you frustration. They save your wood from damage. So let's put these two drilling contenders side by side for a final comparison. The spade bit. It's simple in design, generally cheaper to purchase, and very fast for rough work or softer materials. It truly excels in softer woods like pine or for drilling utility holes where the final finish isn't a critical factor. It can also handle creating larger diameter holes without costing you a small fortune for the bit itself. The auger bit, on the other hand, it has a more complex design, is typically more expensive, but it offers undeniably superior performance, especially in hardwoods. It drills cleaner holes, can go deeper with more accuracy, and provides much more control. It effectively pulls itself into the material, which significantly reduces operator fatigue during prolonged use. For fine woodworking, particularly in dense timbers, the auger bit is usually the superior choice. You must choose based on the type of wood, the nature of the hole, and your own standards for quality. If circumstances dictate that you must use a spade bit in hardwood, please take necessary precautions to improve the outcome. It is highly recommended to use a slower drill speed. If you go too fast, you'll very likely burn the wood and rapidly dull the bit's cutting edges. Utilizing a drill press, if you have one, offers much better control and stability than a handheld drill for this task. Always use a backer board. This is simply a piece of scrap wood that you clamp firmly behind your workpiece. It gives the bit something to exit into, which drastically reduces tear out on the backside of your good lumber. You can also try carefully scoring the outline of the hole with a sharp utility knife first. This action helps the spurs on the spade bit, if your bit has them, to cut cleaner edges. With an auger bit, the key is to let that screw tip do its intended job. Don't try to force it or push too hard. Apply steady, even pressure, and allow the bit to pull itself through the wood at its own pace. The bit actually wants to pull itself through, that's its design. In very deep holes, especially when drilling into resinous or particularly damp wood, you might find it necessary to retract the bit occasionally. This simple action helps to clear the flutes of any packed wood chips, allowing it to continue cutting efficiently. Like any fine cutting tool, it is essential to keep your auger bits sharp. A sharp bit is not only safer to use but also works much more effectively and with less effort. A dull auger bit is a truly frustrating tool to use. Learning to sharpen them yourself or having them professionally sharpened is a very good investment for any serious woodworker. No matter which bit you ultimately choose for your drilling task, safety must always come first in the workshop. Always wear your safety glasses or a full face shield. Wood chips, splinters, and even tiny metal shards have absolutely no business being anywhere near your precious eyes. It's a simple rule, but a vitally important one. Clamp your workpiece securely to your bench or drill press table. You certainly don't want it spinning around uncontrollably with the drill bit. That's a common way for accidents, sometimes serious ones, to happen. And always use sharp bits. A sharp bit cuts cleanly, requires less force from you, and is therefore inherently safer to operate. Respect your tools, respect the wood you are privileged to work with, and you'll make many fine things. And most importantly, you'll keep all your fingers. That's always a good and commendable goal in the workshop.